we teach entrepreneurship, so I'm a professor at the Kellogg School of Management, when we teach entrepreneurship and innovation, our job is not to teach students how to flawlessly execute innovation, because that's an impossible task. We view our job as to teach them how to get comfortable with failing inexpensively and quickly, because the more they do, the more learning they will. Like it's the scientific method is effectively what we teach. In science, failures are data. And unless we view failures as data and things to learn with, we'll never do anything revolutionary.
And fail means also to deal with your reputation, right? Because if you're not open to destroy your reputation and say, oh my God, I worked 20 years to come here. If you're not open to destroy your reputation, you're not open to transform yourself. So I'm going to bring one practical example of that. Inside organizations, to control budget and headcounts, it is the more kind of easy way to find power. If you control 50% of the budget of your organization and 70% of the headcount of your organization, you are the one. But if you look for your organizations right now, the best things that happened in the last 5 years were probably where budget was not there and not so much headcount. So how to transform, and then I would like to bring this book to the table and say, how to overcome the status quo of the reputational career of the executives that they will pursue headcounts and budget as the kind of the representation of their reputation. So how we can change these, David? There's not like an easy answer to that, but you quote something quite interesting in your book in the page 127, the overcoming emotion. Yeah. Talk about these, please.
So the story we open this chapter with goes back to the early 1930s, 1940s, and it comes from General Mills. So General Mills, the CPG company that makes a lot of consumer products, one of the products that they invented in the 1930s was instant cake mix. So cake mix, where all you needed to do was add water and stir and put it in the oven, and you could have a wonderful, perfectly made cake. And they viewed this as a runaway hit. It was going to be fantastic. All home bakers needed to do was buy the cake mix, add water, and it would produce a wonderful cake. And in fact, in taste tests, it performed as well, if not better, than cake mixes or cakes that people made at home. But it wasn't an overnight success. Despite all of the user tests and despite all of the positive feedback they received on the product, people weren't buying it. And General Mills was puzzled. Why aren't people buying the thing that they said they wanted? Why weren't they buying the thing that in focus groups or in market research they said they would buy? And to make a long story short, in order to uncover the answer, they hired a guy named Ernst Dichter. And Ernst Dichter was a Viennese psychologist trained in the school of Sigmund Freud to understand the psychology of what was stopping home bakers from saying yes to this product that they said they wanted. And what Ernst Dichter realized is in their effort to reduce, or in their attempt to reduce effort, right, to make the job of baking a cake easier, they added emotional friction. They caused consternation and anxiety in their customers. What possible anxiety could they cause? Well, they made it too easy. They made it too easy. One of the things, if you think about what you hire a cake to do, a cake is like the ultimate greeting card. It's like the ultimate embodiment of sentiment. And it takes love and care to make. And when you give it to somebody, they're very excited that you spent the time and energy to actually make that cake for them. By making it too easy, these home bakers actually didn't feel like they were baking at all, which detracted some of that emotional value and caused them to say, you know what, maybe I'm not going to do this because it's too easy. So what was the solution? For a variety of reasons, some which are deeply, deeply Freudian, Ernst Dichter suggested that adding a little bit of friction back into the process could solve the problem. And what he recommended was adding 2 fresh eggs, which is why today in your cake mixes, you still add fresh eggs as part of the process. And by cracking and mixing in 2 fresh eggs, now all of a sudden there was enough effort involved to make it feel like it was my own. And as a result, the sales of cakes went through the roof. So sometimes when we make things too easy, we inadvertently erode the emotional value for which people are hiring a product in the first place.
Yeah, and translate this to your daily basis activities. When you have a bright idea, the same effort that you need to do by documenting your idea, you need to do to how you're going to transfer the ownership of this idea to the others. And that creates authority, and at the end, that's create alignment. So the power today for the executives and the business owners that are here today, the power today is not in budget anymore. That's what I call the budgeting karma. You define a budget, and by defining that budget, you committed to your success. Because you promise to the board, you promise to the stakeholders that that budget will be executed. But if in the middle you find a way of executing this in like 1/10 of the value, your mind will think, oh, I'm a failure. But actually, this is the best thing for the company. So who from the audience here already listened to this case that you want to implement something and you do the RFP to select providers based on the size of your budget? And that's a misconcept of efficiency. So budget and headcounts should be destroyed as an element of power.
Thank you very much. Thank you, David Schonthal.